Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you how we can make ChatGPT write longer answers. So if you believe that the answers that you receive by ChatGPT are too short and you wish to have longer responses, then there are some things that you can do in order to make this impact and make ChatGPT create longer answers. Now, the key thing that you need to know about ChatGPT if you want to get longer responses is that you should be as precise as possible, but at the same time you should not be too complex. So the prompts should be really easy and straightforward to understand, but also in details, like precise. So let's say we want to create a story about a dog. I have prepared some prompts that I'm gonna use in this example. Of course, the, let's say, rules that I use in this video apply pretty much in every case. So you can try to be as detailed as possible with these prompts in order to get exactly what you want. So let's say I have this prompt: create a funny story about a dog named Hunch, and this story should be exactly 10 sentences long. And this is the key part. I want ChatGPT to create the story that would have 10 sentences. Now, before I even send this prompt, I have to inform you that most of the time ChatGPT is wrong in terms of counting sentences and words, because we can also use words, but I'll get into that in a second. So if you want to make sure that the count of sentences and words is precise, you can use a website like Word Counter in order to check if ChatGPT actually created 10 sentences or not. However, if you are mostly concerned about the length itself, then you should probably notice the change after you include these things. So let's send the prompt, and there we go. We have a short story. Perhaps it will be even longer than 10 sentences, which is quite surprising because not always is that true. However, in this case, it was really precise and we have exactly 10 sentences. So this time it was correct. So as you can see, we can be pretty precise with how long the text should be, and ChatGPT will try and possibly make the response according to our requests. So this time we have 10 sentences, we have 5 paragraphs, we have 220 words, okay? Now, let's say we want to actually create a longer story. Let's say I want the ChatGPT to expand on this story and make it a little bit longer. So I can write, let's say, rewrite the above story, but make it consist of 15 sentences. So this time, instead of 10, we will try to get 15. And let's see what we can get from ChatGPT. I really hope that this is 15 sentences, but I would not be surprised if that's not the case. So let's replace this text with this one, and this time we have 11 sentences. So as you can see, this is what I said. Sometimes ChatGPT ignores the exact number of the sentences or words that it should use to create the story or whatever we are asking them to do, and it makes it shorter or even sometimes longer. Not really precisely. It's not always precisely the same amount. So last time I was lucky, this time not so. But still, we can, well, maybe the length of the story, I would say it is a little bit longer, right? We have 5 paragraphs. Over here we have 5 paragraphs as well. 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. But it seems that these paragraphs are a little bit longer. And instead of saying that we want, let's say, 15 sentences or 10 sentences or whatever, we can simply ask ChatGPT to rewrite but make it longer. And this will also work because the key word is, of course, longer. We can use longer, long, etc. So let's see if this time we will have more than 11 sentences, and immediately I can see that it is even longer now. So let's copy and let's count it up, and this time we have 14 sentences, so still not 15 as I asked it before, but it is longer. We have almost 2000 characters, we have 283 words. So as you can see, we can still make ChatGPT create longer responses. Now, let's try to talk a little bit about these rules that we can use in order to make ChatGPT create these longer responses, because this is not the only thing that we can use. So you already know about words like 10 sentence log, 15 sentence log. We can write 10 sentence essay, 200 word story, whatever. Let's start by these phrases like longer, etc. So we can write something like long. We can make ChatGPT try to make it as long as possible in order to not to try to, if you don't want to apply any strict rules about the length. If we want it to be longer, then we can just use this, like long as possible, or as many words as possible. All of these should work. In addition to that, we can once again use these word or sentence counts. So we can, let's say, write a 500 word essay. We can come up with a 1000 word story, and something similar to what I used at first, create a theory consisting of 15 sentences. But once again, like I said, if you want to make sure that the count is correct, you should count it up by yourself, because most of the time it's not really correct. But still, if we, let's say, make ChatGPT write something that is made of 1000 words and it's not really that, then we can still use words like continue, like go on, or elaborate, or explain in order to make the ChatGPT go further. So let's say I'm gonna use this story that ChatGPT just generated for me, which is 14 sentences long, and this time I'm gonna just type continue. So now after that, ChatGPT will think that this story is not over yet. There's something more that should be added to that. And ChatGPT will of course generate another part of the story, and I can keep going and going and going, and I will get more and more responses. So let's say this whole thing is just one story, right? These two responses are one story. So I can add that story that has been just generated into the previous one, and this time we have 28 sentences, we have over 3,500 characters, and over 500 words. So we don't have to be limited to just one prompt. If we want to, we can make ChatGPT elaborate the story. We can tell ChatGPT that the story should keep going. We can add the plot. We can make we can just add things to the prompt by just writing another prompt. So we don't have to be limited to just one request. Another thing that we can do is that we can use some sort of lists. So let's say we want ChatGPT to create a recipe book, and we have the list of things that should be included in this recipe book. Let's see if this works. I didn't test it out, so I will be curious about what we can get out of it. Okay, so we have the first dish. We have the pad thai, which works. We have pork balls, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it actually generated everything. So as you can see, this response is really long. I have to scroll for a bit until I get to the end of the answer. So the list should work most of the time. However, if not, then we can also divide our prompt once again. So let's say I can use half of the list at first, right? I'm gonna send this, then ChatGPT will create the recipe book according to my instructions. So I should have 3 items in the recipe book, and then I can just type continue, and then let's add the rest. So 0.4, 5, and 6, and let's see Yeah, and it still works. So this is once again what I mentioned before. We can divide our prompts into several prompts, and we can pretty much get answers or the whole story or everything that we need, but divide it into several answers. So we can just copy the first answer, that get the second answer, and add to the first answer, and create whatever we need. Now, talking about dividing, and just to showcase what I talked about before, about dividing the prompts and adding things to the story, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to actually write me a story about a guy named Roman who likes to go bowling. So this time I'm not really specific. Well, actually, let's say I am, because I used the word short. But as you can see, it's not really that short. We still got a pretty long story. And this time, once again, I can just type go on or something, or I can mix things up, and I will say that I want ChatGPT to continue the story, but now I want it to introduce another character whose name is Nico, a cousin of Roman. And of course the story continues. The ChatGPT will continue the story, and this time we will get another character added as we asked ChatGPT to do so. So now we have one story made by ChatGPT, which is this one, the first answer, and of course the second answer over here. And I guess these are all main things that you can do in order to get as long responses as possible from ChatGPT. So to summarize it, we need to keep it detailed but not too complex at the same time. We can be very specific about the length. We can make ChatGPT write sentences in a precise count, so we can say to ChatGPT to create a story made of 15 sentences, 20 sentences, etc., or 1,000 word story, 2,000 word story, 3,000 word essays, and so on and so forth. And if it happens that ChatGPT stops for unknown reason, like let's say it would look like this part is not there, it would be cut out, then we can just type continue, and it should be completely fine. The ChatGPT should continue with the essay story or whatever. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and see you in my next videos. Bye.